Hi all you beautiful people, thanks for joining me. This is Rise and Shine. Let's take a look at your readings for today and we'll see what charms we've got. So, let me dig deep. First charm, okay, we have a unicorn with pink stars. I think we might have had that last week, but that is one of them. And it's a sweet little unicorn. And we have two here. Okay, so we have a whale. And we have a leaflet, which a leaflet is like on a pecan tree. You don't just have one leaf, like you have a kind of a branch of leaves, and that's called a leaflet. They all come together. So the leaf is actually the whole leaflet. Okay, so, and I only know that because I am a total plant nerd and geek. So we've got the unicorn, we've got the whale, we've got the leaflet. So all kind of like really connected to Earth, but we've got the magical creature, then we have the most probably mystical creature on the planet, and our largest mammal. And then we have nature with that leaflet. So you choose one of those, and then the reading that corresponds with that will connect for you. I'm going to be reading for the unicorn first, so please feel free to jump ahead if you want to move on to the next one. And I have set my intentions ahead of time so that I am connected for your highest and greatest good in a way that will help you on your path. And I know you're like, well, this is a generalized reading. It does help. It really can. So just go with it. See how it turns out for you. Okay. All right, unicorn people. Wow. You are climbing up a hill and pushing a boulder while you're doing it. I do see your level of exhaustion being really intense right now, and I want you to know I feel like this is affecting your sleep. And so interesting in this particular image too, because she's got a horse like going through her dreams, through her nightmares, and you've got the unicorn. So, you know, almost like you're looking at the positive, negative, the yin and yang energy, but you're still taking these processes to bed with you and you're not unwinding fully. So there's a lot of anxiety that you're kind of surrounding yourself in, and this seems to be picking up at night in general too. So, you know, it might be good to take a hot bath, which is a very naturally clearing thing to do, even a hot shower. So just because it seems mundane doesn't mean that it isn't really, really powerful. So do something to help kind of clear your energy and your mindset before you're going to bed at night. You know, your work, it feels like a drain and kind of a suck for you of energy. You might be having a difficult time with your boss being like overly controlling or kind of manipulative. And you might also be struggling with some of that in your work environment yourself. So, you know, what's really important here is that you see yourself clearly and how you actually present and behave and put your best efforts in at work, because I don't think work is getting your best effort at this point. And, you know, if you're not willing to give that, maybe you shouldn't be there. Maybe there's something else that you could be doing that would be a better fit and can tap into your creativity a little more. You know, I have to say, like, there's not actually a depression card here, and that might be something you haven't acknowledged yet, but there's a lot of meh kind of feeling. And so, you know, when we're thinking about that, those can be kind of lower levels of depression, or you're not really processing those emotions through. And it definitely has that kind of stuck energy. I'm also feeling like you need to take better care of your hair right now. I know that sounds random, but maybe it's trying a different shampoo or washing it more, or you've got too much like dry shampoo buildup in there. Or the products are too harsh for your hair. I just want you to think about what you might want to change in that regime. But I feel like your hair is kind of like fighting you right now. So work. Let's begin to think about another option. What could be good for you? Also, personal life. I feel like you're carrying a lot of responsibility around your family situation. you tend to isolate yourself though in this, and you feel like nobody helps, nobody sees you. So there's some real frustration there. I also feel like you have a hard time separating from them and like creating those boundaries. Like you can't tell them no, and so they just kind of, you feel very much like you owe them this responsibility. And so this is burdensome at the time. And, you know, I feel like that's part of the exhaustion and the anxiety. I mean, you're getting it from work and from home, and it's like, right now, my life sucks. And I want it to be a magical unicorn. I want to feel special. And so, you know, there are things you can do to make yourself feel special. It doesn't mean you have to go back out and buy a new red dress or a new pair of shoes. Sorry, yeah, if you're a guy, you're probably not buying yourself a new red dress, but, you know, it really is how you treat yourself and acknowledging what you need throughout the day. And perhaps that's, you know, doing a little bit of writing or decompression time, some deep breathing. It doesn't have to be major, but it will make a difference on how you're seeing yourself in your life. Because right now that feels really challenging. The other thing for you, yeah, okay, here's our depression. So kind of looking at that spiritually, feeling kind of bereft, like you don't know what you have faith in anymore. And I think you're even questioning, what did I ever have faith in? Like, what am I reaching for? How is this ever going to get better? Like, you can't see it getting better. And I love that you picked the unicorn, because that lets me know that somewhere in there, you really do have faith that something is going to shift, that something can be better, something can be magical. And, you know, this is one of those times where you have to get out of your own way. And I know everything is sucking right now, but I'm also telling you, part of this is your attitude and how you're perceiving things. And, you know, one of the hardest times in my life, when I felt I had no control, and I finally stopped pushing back, and I just was like, okay, I just have to put up with this for a year and a half, just a year and a half, and I can survive that. And so when I stopped fighting, then all of a sudden within like 6 months, everything changed, and I was able to leave in like 6 or 7 months of time. I didn't have to stay there any longer. So I want you to think about that sometimes, you know, when we just give up fighting, it's like, oh, okay, I can survive this. I just had to, I had to kind of be obedient to a situation. So be open to how you can improve you, because, you know, your circumstances aren't necessarily going to change, but you can change. All right, so that's our unicorn people. And I know that wasn't the easiest reading for you, but I appreciate you hanging in there. So if you have any thoughts on it, please feel free to comment below for me. Okay, so let's look at our whales. And if anybody's wondering what deck this is called the Slow Tarot. I'm assuming it probably took the person a really long time to paint this deck. So, all right, whale people. Well, golly, you were in such a different place. Okay. So, and I'm blind. Oh, you've got 3 major arcanas here, so very cool. Definitely going through some pivotal shifting for you right now. And we think about it, a whale is a huge creature, so these are huge, big shifts. You're so excited though. I see you on the cusp of a new adventure in life. As some of you might actually be focusing on a child, I feel like many of you are just very excited about what's coming into your life at this point. And this is really bringing some joy for you. Now, I know that you've got some difficulties in this as I'm looking at it too, but I also trust that you know that you have faith in yourself and that you can make a difference here, which was one of the things that's different between where you and the unicorn were. I see a little more trust. Now your work is kind of sucky. It is very draining. I don't, honestly, I feel like the people you're working with are a little bit toxic and not the best for you right now. Um, and and I also feel like you're a little overly exposed at work. Like people know too much about you. You need a little bit more privacy, a little bit more discretion there. So really be conscientious about what you're letting kind of hang out at the job. You know, is it personal life stuff? Is it someone you've got a crush on that somebody else knows about? This is time for you to really begin to work on your boundaries a little bit and work on that professional side of yourself. I do feel that work is probably also a time suck in a way that is kind of unhealthy. So, you know, make sure that you're having the decompression time that you need, that you're counterbalancing with like, you know, a big sleep on one night of the weekend, that kind of situation. Because I want you to kind of figure out what your sense of health is here. And you might also be thinking, how long do I need to be in this job? Where can I grow from here? Personal life, I do think in the personal life, there's a sense of like, okay, what's next for me? My world feels like it sucks. It feels like the energy's not working with me here anymore. If you are married with children, I feel like your kids are your main focus, and everything else, like with the marriage, is feeling really held up or mundane, like not interesting. And you know, one of the things I'm looking at this particular world card, it's like mechanical images, mechanical spheres moving around. And so it's a controlled situation. It's not a full reality. And I want you to really think about the vision of what you want your life to look like, because I think one of the things you're aware of is like, I need to change this, and how do I want it to look? And so, you know, how do you want it to look? What do you want to make different? Who do you actually want in your energy sphere? Because I think you can really make changes around that now. Yes, it's going to be scary, totally scary, but could it be totally worth it? Absolutely. You know, there are people I love, but I choose not to hang around anymore. It's okay. They're still good people. We just don't have the same kind of energy to offer each other anymore. And that's okay. You can love someone and not necessarily need to be around them all the time. So think about what you want to do there and what's going to kind of up level you. Because I feel like you're a little trapped in a world that you also feel like there's nothing else here for you in both work and your personal life. So how are you going to make change? And then from your spiritual sense, there's a little bit of the sense that the world is conspiring against you, that it's just not time yet. And that is one of the things we have to do, is kind of roll with the energy that is around us. Like, you know, sometimes it's easier to leave or make a change as your kids transition into school. Or transition out of school. So there's a lot that we do based on seasons or timing of other things. And, you know, I feel like your mental state is really ready for change, but you're having to hold on because of outside influences. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of biding your time and waiting till the influences are really positive there. And this might be a good time to kind of like look into astrology and see where your planets might align to be the best time to make that move. And I'm not an astrologer. I know a wee bit, but that's not my jam. But I appreciate a good reading. And this is one of those times where it might be, you know, getting your chart done and going, okay, I need to make some big, massive changes. So when is a good probability of that in my chart, say in the next, you know, 12 to 16 months. And then you might be able to find some influence with there so that you can create a plan that you feel like you feel really good with and can live with. Okay, so that is our whale, people, and that's kind of a whale of a situation. It's a big deal for you right now. But the good thing is that you will come through this, and your soul is growing and evolving, and how you're dealing with it is part of your evolution for this life. And I think that's what we're here to do, is go through challenges. So just own it, baby. Okay, let's take a look at our leaflet. And we'll see what we've got for y'all. Got lots of stuckness today. Okay, but every reading is actually very different and has its own independent vibe and feel to it. So, I feel for you, there's actually been a release recently, but it honestly, it feels like kind of like a chaotic one. Like a kind of a cluster, I don't want to say the F-bomb, but yeah, kind of that. So, you're able to let go, and yet there's so much that's up in the air and kind of chaotic. And so, it's interesting having that leaflet and this idea of maybe not being so grounded right now. So change is happening, and you're going to have to kind of adapt and go with the flow of this energy. Work looks really solid. You're super dynamic at your job right now and rocking it out. You should be really proud of yourself, because your energy is creative, it's strong, it's got good authority. You might also be working with a mentor who has those traits right now. And this would be, in that case, a boss that you really love, because they are inspirational in your life, and they have those really great qualities that we actually seek out in a mentor. And, mentors just sort of happen organically. We can't actually find someone to be, we can't just ask someone to be that. So I do feel like you've got that energy going in this, in your work realm. Also, I feel like you're kind of planning out what your time is going to be like there and what you'd like to accomplish, and that also seems really good. On the side note, though, there is someone you've got to navigate dealing with that I think that you don't fully trust, and that's not necessarily going to be a bad thing. We have to learn how to work with people that we don't totally trust. So just be conscientious and don't expect that aspect to change. You don't ever have to fully trust them. You might just have to learn to work with them. So, having those boundaries there do seem good and very responsible of you. Okay, personal life. So I feel like either you've gotten some financial help or you are helping someone else financially. If you're able to donate or contribute to someone else, that's very good of you. Do it with an open heart, and absolutely do not expect a return on your investment. When you loan money, you have to be able to walk away from it. So think about it, instead of giving someone a loan, you are just giving them money, because realistically they usually can't pay you back. That is part of how that works. If you are on the receiving end, be honest with yourself about what this commitment means. Are you borrowing the money? Are you being given the money? And so you need to be acting responsibly with that, but you also need to think about if you're borrowing it, how are you going to manage this to get those checks and balances back to normal, and manage to pay them back and still move forward with the financial struggles that you're dealing with. And the idea of the leaflet, I'm just like, hey, don't spread yourself too thin. Just be conscientious, and deal kind of with the bare minimums. Also, if you're giving of your time, make sure you're taking time for yourself. I see the positives in this, but I'm just also wanting you to be aware of kind of managing it all. And some of you might have just gotten like your refund finally from the IRS, and that actually feels like that's like, whoo, yes, some freedom with that. And I see, possibly investing in either in the home or in some kind of surgery, which could be both necessary or cosmetic in this regard. Okay. Now, this is interesting because this just kind of takes this reading into a different level. As you look at your spiritual life or where you're going, I want you to really begin to be super honest with yourself, because I think this might be an area that you're actually kind of struggling with. And, you know, if you lie to yourself, then all you can do is lie to other people. They will never, ever be able to trust you. And you won't know why, because you can't look at yourself very clearly. And that's interesting because I mentioned that person that we were trusting earlier that you weren't trusting at work. This might be somewhat of a reciprocal relationship. And perhaps you have some deep trusting issues with other people, and that can be part of this too, because somebody had taken advantage of you at some point. So, you know, with that, I want you to look at the aspect of yourself that feels like a victim, that has been taken advantage of, you know, that little inner child self. I feel like you've got some healing work to do around that. I want you to be honest with your responsibilities as both a child and as an adult, and how you can better yourself and your life. And, you know, if you're doing anything seedy, you've got shame and guilt around that. And that's in place because you know you shouldn't be doing it. So this is time for you to ethically upgrade. And I just want you to really, you know, get down to the nuts and bolts of it and be really straightforward. Okay, so that's it for this week, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Leave me any thoughts, comments, or feedback down below, and I look forward to hearing from you next week. Take care for now. Bye-bye.